family. Happy Saturday, almost evening. It is almost 4 o'clock, y'all. How are y'all on this Saturday? Charlie, bring them to me. Charlie, bring them here. Does it seem like I'm always in the kitchen, y'all? If so, it's because I really am. So today I went to the grocery store. I have done some work. I had to work on balancing some books. I have made lunch. We had a salad for lunch. This salad had broccoli, carrots, cucumbers, and avocado in it. And I have made dinner. Let me see if I can show y'all. Here is dinner for today. So it is a pasta salad. And in that salad, ooh, my camera is, let me tighten that up. In that pasta salad, I have kale, spinach, and tomatoes. And I did like an array of sauces. I did Italian, like a Cabernet sauce, and a red pepper sauce. So that's what we're having for dinner. I am currently drinking on a hot tea. So the tea I am drinking is an elderberry, lemon balm, immune, and stress, with words that I can't pronounce. Ashwagandha. I don't know. I'll let y'all read it. So this is the tea that I'm drinking. It's supposed to help with stress and relaxation. So let's hope that that is the case. That's what I've been doing today, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed Trice's 2-month catch up and all that's going on with him. I hope y'all enjoyed that for Flashback Friday. Supposed to go to work tonight. I might leave my husband hanging and let him go by himself. So I'm going to sit down and work on Jordan's hair. I did Sydney's hair yesterday. So I'm going to do Jordan's hair today. So that's all I'm doing. So anyway, Saturday salad, y'all. Saturday salad. See? Get the whole thing. Saturday salad. And I made plenty so that we should have leftovers for at least lunch tomorrow. And then I may do Sunday sandwiches since I did Saturday salad. That's it. I'm gonna go do Jordan's hair. Hopefully it'll only take me an hour. All right, family, it is 9:30. I just got all the kids to sleep and I am now enjoying some hot tea. Look at that steam, y'all. Y'all see that steam? I'm using my lovely butterfly glass, birthday gift from my mother-in-law. I use this glass when I need something pretty in my life. And I'm drinking the same tea from earlier today, only I have some calm in this tea, so I added a little bit of calm, hopefully so I can get some good sleep tonight. I did end up going to work with my husband, so I went to work. So I think I'm going to just sit on the couch, maybe binge a few videos on YouTube. My husband's watching football. I'm gonna get under my nice cuddle soft blanket and enjoy my tea. my pretty glass, y'all. So, and I think I'm gonna combine Saturday and Sunday's vlog. That way I can be caught up, y'all, and just be done with trying to catch up. Plus, I didn't do much today. Don't think I'm gonna do much tomorrow because we'll be at work all day. So I think just combining those 2 days. I've been uploading every day because I've been behind, so still got a video every day. So I think I'm just going to combine today and tomorrow and upload tomorrow, and that way I'll be back on track. So that may be what I do. We'll see. Anyway, I love y'all, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Hello, family. Good evening. Good Sunday evening. It is 10 o'clock here. Pretty sure 10:30. It's 10:30 here, and I am just now getting on the vlog. I've had to work today, so I was at work all day, and then I got home, got some dinner. Today's my mother-in-law's birthday, so we called her. And now I got the kids to bed, so everybody is in the bed and sleeping. And it's just us, y'all, with my thankful mug and my hot cocoa with whipped cream, because what is hot cocoa without whipped cream? And if you're wondering, are you hot? That was hot. I use coconut, and tonight I'm using almond milk whipped cream. So my favorite is the coconut though. So anyway, did not vlog all day today because again, I was at work and I was super busy, which is good. That's a good problem to have. So anyway, I will combine Saturday and Sunday's vlog. And so what I want to do is just hop on here and have a very short Sunday school chat, because normally on Sundays we talk about homeschooling and schooling and things like that. And I wanted to talk about guilt around being a homeschool parent, because I feel like as a homeschool parent, we tend to carry more guilt than the average parent. You know, I don't remember, because my oldest son went to public school, and so I don't remember feeling guilty about sending him to public school. I don't remember worrying about, you know, was he learning everything he needed to learn. I don't remember worrying about his social life. I don't remember feeling guilty because I chose to send him to public school. Like I just don't remember having those worries as a parent. And that's not to say that there aren't some parents who kids go to public school and they have guilt around that or feel a certain way around it. But I do feel like as a homeschooling parent, we tend to carry that load a lot heavier than parents who send their kids to public school. You know, we just, as a homeschooling parent, you worry about, are they learning enough? Am I teaching them enough? Am I doing this right? Are they, you know, ahead, behind, equal? Will they have the same opportunities? And there's that whole, sometimes that guilt around the choice that you've made. Sending my son to public school, I just do not ever remember worrying, are they teaching him enough? You know, is he ahead? Is he behind? You know, it was like they got it and do your homework. And as long as you do your homework, you're fine. You know, when in reality, nobody cares as much as I do about my child's education and what they are learning. And I'll get to that in just a second. But you know, there's also, along with the are they learning enough, then there's their whole social life, you know. As a homeschooling parent, you're constantly worried about, is my child socialized? And I think that's because you have the world telling you that homeschooling is isolating and that, you know, your child isn't going to be socialized. And what does socialized look like? I mean, really, what does it look like? And so there's that worry, and in the back of your mind, you carry that thought and sometimes that guilt, like, are they going to be socialized? Do they have enough friends? What is, you know, what does their social life look like? Whereas in public school, when you send your child, you're not worried about, do they have friends? I mean, you just automatically assume that because they go to public school, they have friends. You're not thinking about, are they being isolated? Are they being bullied? Are they socializing appropriately? And things like that. You just, it's almost like, I hate to say it, but you know, sending my son to public school was almost like releasing a duty of mine. It was almost like, okay, I don't have to worry about this. He's good. He's with somebody else. He's good. I don't have to think about it. And that obviously is not the appropriate way to be, but truth be told, that's kind of how it is. And so with homeschooling, you do carry that along with, you know, did I make the right choice by homeschooling them? You know, was this the best decision for them? And all of those things, whereas we don't necessarily think about those things when you send your child to public school. So I feel like one of the ways to conquer those feelings and the guilt that sometimes wants to creep up on us as homeschooling parents is to remember that nobody loves your child like you do. Nobody cares about your child's well-being like you do. Nobody has your child's best interest like you do. Like, there is nobody else on the face of this earth that cares about the success of your child like you do. And so with that being said, you are obviously going to make the best decision with whatever tools you're given for your child. You're going to do whatever you feel is best for that child by any means necessary, however you can do it with whatever is in front of you. So if that's public school, if you know the means and the tools that you have and you truly believe that public school is the best for your child, then that's what you're going to do. If it's private school, then that's what you're going to do. And if it's homeschooling, then that's what you're going to do. And I feel like as a homeschooling parent, you have done probably more research than any other parent has done when it comes to schooling. You know, there's public school where depending on where you live, your region of the world or your suburb or whatever, where you may do the research on, okay, I'm zoned for this school, but there's also this monastery school, or there's also this charter school that I can send my child to. So let me do the research on which one I want to send them to. Or if your zoned school is an excellent school, then the research you did is, where should we buy a house to make sure that our child is going to the best public school. Private school, you know, you're researching all the different private schools and what can we afford as a family and the drive and the values of that private school. So you're looking into that. Homeschooling, first of all, you've researched every public school, more than likely. You've researched every charter school, every Montessori school. You've probably looked at every private school option as well. And then you have researched every single thing that there is to know about homeschooling. It doesn't matter how long you homeschool, you're still researching everything that there is to know about homeschooling. I mean, you are like diving deep into this thing before you make the decision, a huge decision to say, okay, I'm gonna either pull my child out of public school and homeschool them, or I'm just gonna homeschool them. This isn't, you just don't wake up one day and be like, today I'm gonna homeschool. Okay, maybe there's some people that do that. But most people do not just roll out of bed and be like, you're not going to school today, we're homeschooling, and just make this rash decision. There is like tons and tons of research, and for some people, prayer, and just talking to more homeschooling parents, and just, it is so thought out and so planned that you know without a doubt as a parent that you feel in your heart of hearts that you are making the best decision for your child, for your family, to homeschool them. So that eliminates the guilt. Because you have thought this thing through. You have done the research, you have done the work, you have done the due diligence. This wasn't just a willy-nilly decision. And so that alone makes you feel like, okay, I know I'm doing this for the best thing for my child. And so along with that comes the idea of, are they learning enough? You as a parent are going to find the resources, try to get a hold of the resources, present your child with the resources. You're gonna do all of this because you have the best interest for your child. Like you don't want them to fail. On top of that, you don't want yourself to fail. Like if they don't know it, you can't blame the teacher. You can't blame the school. You can't blame the system. It's you. It's you and it's your child. So with that being said, you're gonna do your due diligence and you're gonna do the work to ensure that not only they know what they need to know, but the goal and the hope is that they know more than what they need to know. So again, that eliminates the guilt because you are doing above and beyond because you don't want to look bad. Number one, and you have the best interest for your child, right? So that too helps with the guilt. I think another thing is knowing that you can give your child every single resource that there is available. You can send them to the #1 school in the country. You can do whatever in your power, but this child, this person is still their own person, and they are still going to ultimately make the decisions that they want to make for their life. Once they fly out of the nest and can do their own thing, they're gonna do what they want to do and what they think is best for them. So it's either gonna go two ways, right? Either they're going to do something strictly because they don't want to disappoint you, but it doesn't really make them happy, but they're gonna do it because they just don't want to disappoint you. Or they're gonna be an individual and stand on their own 2 feet and do what they want to do even if it disappoints you. And so you have to ask yourself, which one will I be okay with? Would I be okay with my child being completely unhappy for the rest of their life, or until they're in their 40s, 50s, when they finally decide to do their own thing? So would I want them to live this life being unhappy, being miserable, being a doctor or a lawyer or all the things the world says make you valid, right? So would I be happy with them carrying this title so that I can stick my chest out and say my child is a doctor or lawyer or whatever? But in reality, my child is miserable. But would I be okay with that? Or will I be okay with my child being a vagabond, or my child living in a van and touring the world, with my child being, a landscaper for the local church, or whatever truly makes them happy. And it may not look good on paper or when you say it out loud or to society. It doesn't have that value, right? And so will I be okay with my child being an individual and having the ability to say, I understand you might want me to be a doctor, but I'm gonna live in my van and I'm gonna travel and see all 50 states from my van, and you being okay with that and being able to verbally say that to people and not feel like I failed as a parent. Because I feel like the latter means you succeeded as a parent. I feel like raising a child that can stand on their own 2 feet and can live an authentic, or as I like to call it, organic life, and be their organic self in a world that is trying hard to just make them be something else. A child that grows up and can stand against that adversity and be authentic and true to themselves, that's when you've done your job. To me, that's when you've done your job. And ultimately, I feel like that's why we homeschool. Do we really homeschool so that our child can be the genius, at the local university or at any university? Do we homeschool so that our child can, get the highest score on the ACT or SAT? Is that why we homeschool? Or do we homeschool to raise these little tiny people to be the best version of themselves that they can be? Which one are you doing it for? Know your why. Which is the other thing. In order to help with the guilt, you got to know your why. Why are you homeschooling? Why? Is it for your own self-gain? Is it to shelter your child from the world that eventually they're going to be in? Is it to try to raise a little genius that, again, gets the highest scores on the ACTs, graduates at 14 from high school and goes off to college and graduates from college at, 20 or 18 or whatever, and you're able to brag about it? Is it for that reason? Is it to instill your religious beliefs into this child and make sure that they don't have anybody else going against the grain of what you're saying? They only getting your version of religion, your version of the world? Or is it to provide a freedom for your child to just be who they are without the world telling them who they should be? Which one is it? And once you know your why, then that will propel everything else for you. And it'll ultimately help with the guilt, because your why probably will explain why you feel guilty, right? Your why will then explain the guilt, If your why is, I'm homeschooling because I want my child to be a mathematical genius, but then you guys don't do math for 2 days in a row, you're ultimately going to feel guilty, because in your mind you are failing at making your child be a mathematical genius, so you feel guilty. If your why is because I want to shelter them from the world, and then all of a sudden they are exposed to something in the world, or they get their hands on something in the world, and you're upset, and now you feel guilty because you failed at what your why was. If your why is for them to have freedom to be them, but then you are trying to force them to be this and it's not working, you feel guilty because your why, right? Once you know your why, it explains all the other feelings. So once you know your why, the other way to conquer the guilt is to figure out, why is that your why? Why is that your why? What's your reason for wanting to raise this mathematical genius? Is it to prove something to your parents? Because y'all, for real, a lot of us got our own trauma and our own stuff that we're still dealing with from our own childhood, right? And then we pass that thing on to our child. And that, my friend, is what I call a generational curse. So why is your why your why? What is the reason for your why? You know, if it's for them to have the freedom to be them, is that because you felt like you didn't have the freedom to be you? You know, what's driving your why? What's driving your why? So it all comes back to full circle, so we can shorten this little nighttime chat. Full circle, the guilt comes back to what's going on inside of you. Usually it really has nothing to do with the schooling of the child. And I think one of the biggest ways that you can conquer that guilt head on and quickly is to have a conversation with your child about school and homeschooling. How are they feeling about it? What are their thoughts? What are some of their concerns? What are some of their fears? I did a Q&A with my now senior daughter. I'll leave that video link for you guys. And a lot of the questions that was asked, honestly, I had never asked her those questions. We had never sat down and just had that kind of conversation where I asked a lot of those questions. We've talked about some of them and kind of passing and like ha laughing, but we had never sat down and just had a one-on-one. And I learned a lot from that Q&A session with her. And I think had we had that conversation early on, it would have changed the course or the way that I homeschooled her previously. Because I learned a lot. You know, I learned how she felt about sports and things like that. Something in my mind I never thought that she cared about. But then learned in that video that she kind of did. So, and so I find that while I'm feeling guilty about one thing, in reality, she cared nothing about that thing, but she cared about this thing. You know what I'm saying? And so it went back to, what was my why? What was my why that I missed learning about what she cared about, if that makes sense. So I think one of the biggest ways to conquer that guilt is to be able to sit down and have those hard conversations. If you were a teacher, think about it this way. If you were a teacher in a public school, you would have evaluations. And the principal would come into your classroom and they would evaluate you as a teacher, and they would tell you the pros, the cons. They would give you constructive criticism. They would give you advice and try to help you become a better teacher, right? And so because we don't have a principal, our kids ultimately are the principals. And so they are the ones that you need to allow to evaluate you and say, hey, here's where we're getting it right. Here's where we're getting it wrong. And here's where we can do better or whatever. And then you have to be okay with that, with hearing that come from your child's mouth. Because it's easy to be like, I'm the parent, you don't tell me what's wrong or what's right. But hearing it come from their mouth and then being able to say, okay, I'm going to course correct this thing. So I think that that's so important, and something that we should do as parents, especially when we're starting to feel the guilt creep up. You know, that may be your inner self telling you it's time for an evaluation, it's time for your teacher evaluation. And what you may and more than likely will find from that conversation is that you're okay. You're okay. You're doing you're okay. You're doing things right. Maybe not doing everything right, because that's another thing. We make mistakes as parents. We don't get it right. We're not perfect. And each child is trial and error. It's really, parenting is trial and error. You try one thing with one child, you make some errors, so then you try a different way with the next child and hope that you got it wrong. And then you make more errors, and then you just keep going. I'm hoping that by number 12, all the kinks are worked out, and that you know, we're rocking and rolling, and I have the iPhone 11X model, the best model or whatever on the market. But it's all trial and error. So you're gonna make mistakes, and then you just course correct, get back on track, and keep rocking and rolling until you realize you're making more mistakes, and then you fix those and you get back on track, and you just keep on going, y'all. You just keep on trucking along. And so that, my friends, is how I feel as a homeschooling parent. You can conquer the guilt and the pressure that we put on ourselves and that we carry on ourselves and things like that. It's knowing your why, what's driving your why, having conversation with your kids, understanding that you have the best interest for your child. You are their number one cheerleader. You care the most about them. You're not going to do anything that you feel would harm your child or put them in harm's way or put them at a disadvantage or hurt them in the future. So knowing that alone helps with the guilt. You are doing the best that you know how to do for your child at the given moment with the tools that you have and the circumstances that you're in and all of that. Know that first and foremost. And so, yeah, that's my little Sunday school chat, y'all. That's my Sunday school chat. That was on my heart to share with y'all. And I hope that this was helpful for someone, that you take something away from this, and that you go into your school week this week feeling better, rejuvenated, refreshed, and ready to conquer it, y'all. So that's it. If you guys have, y'all, first of all, I'm trying to look into your eyes. But this camera, the screen is over here. And because I want to look into somebody's eyes, right? I want to, like, when I talk to you, I want to look into your eyes, but I'm looking into a lens. So my go-to is to look into my own eyes. And I'm like preaching to myself, right? So I'm like, you got this. But it looks like I'm looking over here and y'all are right here. Whatever. Funny. That's it, y'all, for Sunday school and for today's vlogtober vlog. What is today? The 18th. Whew. How many more days we got, y'all? 13 days. 13 more days. No, seriously, I am loving hanging out with y'all because y'all are the MVPs and I love my family. We are over 4,000 family members. We're rolling deep. We're rolling deep, y'all. So I love hanging out with y'all. But the thing about this vlogtober is the freaking editing and uploading the video. More so the uploading. My computer hates me and it is so slow. I said this in a vlog before, I'm saying it again. It's so freaking slow. So it's the uploading that's the worst part. The editing is not so much. I'm enjoying trying out new editing. I'm a creative in my core. I'm a creative. And so that's one of the reasons why I love YouTube, is it fulfills my creative side. And so I am enjoying trying new editing techniques and having a video every day to play with and try to edit it new ways and things like that. It's fun for me and it's relaxing and I don't mind that part. But the uploading, y'all, that part. So I am adding a new laptop to my vision board. That is going on my vision board to have a new laptop before Vlogmas. If we even do Vlogmas, because I don't know. But yeah, I'm adding that to my vision board. We're gonna manifest that new laptop. All right, y'all. I blabbered on enough. I love y'all, and I will see y'all